Welcome back to the Crypto's Key conversation. I'm going to try to be brief in this one. I only want to cover a handful of things here. We're going to start with this one from the block. It says Bankman-Fried arraignment in New York set for next week. So just a quick take out of it. It says court documents set Bankman-Fried's arraignment on January 3rd. Bankman-Fried faces 2 charges of wire fraud and 6 counts of conspiracy. So we're going to continue to track kind of what's going on and what happens with Sam Bankman-Fried and the FTX scandal stuff. WeezyXapp put this up. It says the prosecutor in the SBF case that was able to get him that bail that doesn't make sense in none other than Stanford Law graduate Nicholas Ruse. Remember, the jail guards that fell asleep when Epstein didn't kill himself. Guess who asked for the case to be dropped? Yep, Ruse with the eyeballs. There's a lot of speculation, a lot of conversation that's been happening just with, connecting more of these dots and connecting more of the dots within just the whole scandal and all the shady stuff that's been happening within our industry. And you can see that there's ties to other major players and people in government, people in positions of power, people with a lot of wealth and net worth. Just kind of shady stuff. It's like a massive web of just corruption. This is from Watcher Guru. Says just in, Sam Bankman-Fried reportedly cashes out $684,000 while under house arrest. So coming over here, Sam Bankman-Fried, in response to this Cointelegraph, where it says Alameda wallets become active days after SBF bail, community mules foul play. So Sam Bankman-Fried literally tweeted, this was today at 11:30 a.m. He says, none of these are me. I'm not and couldn't be moving any of those funds. I don't have access to them anymore. Comes down here, continues. I believe it is likely the case that various legit legs of FTX have the ability to access these funds. Hopefully that's what's happening here. If not, hopefully one steps in soon to do so. I would be happy to help advise regulators on this if any wanted. Watcher Gruber says, quote, Your Honor, how could my client possibly be charged with fraud if crypto isn't real money? And then coming out here, Crypto Bull says, the fact that you are still sitting at home after stealing billions of dollars while the SEC is harming XRP holders shows us how corrupt Gary Gensler and SEC are. When will you interfere? And he added Tom Emmer. We're waiting for that new day that Tom Emmer's been talking about. I thought this was interesting. Digital Asset Investor had put this up, and this is Jim Willie. This is Ron Parton and Mark Squibb. It says Congress, a new day is coming. So remember, I just said that hearings won't be enough to save this country at this point. It's going to take guts. So let's take a quick listen into this.
3 weeks ago, you have Maxine Waters blowing kisses at Sam Bankman-Fried. Oh, I love you. And then you've got Soros. I mean, and in terms of now that they've disclosed the political contribution, the only person who gave more to the powers that be on both sides of the aisle, particularly the not so nice, was Soros. I mean,
right. This
has exposed so much bad funding and how the money that was stolen got spattered about, and the shit that is now plastering the SEC and everybody is a good thing because it shines a light on the way the system is work. And you can complain about how fraudulent it is. The problem is most of the time the fraud goes unnoticed. But now the fraudsters have been exposed.
And not only have the
there's
fraudsters
a big dose of ugly.
And not only have the fraudsters been exposed, but the fraudsters have been exposed at the highest levels, i.e. Gary Gensler.
Man, and it's going to be quite intriguing, and it's exciting to see, the likes of Chairman Gensler and all these shady actors that are supposed to be out there representing the public. They all finally get what they got coming to them, and I hope they throw the book at them. And Tom Emmer's over here. It's like, man, we're waiting for this new day. I'm curious to see, when this new day is coming. Moving on here, this is from ProCoin News. It says XRP lawsuit. SEC continues to try to seal him in documents. So without going through this article, I mean, if you've been following the case, I mean, this stuff kind of makes us sick. And it's at this point, it's really no surprise to us because they're trying to do everything in their power to, suppress and seal the Hinman documents because they know that, the evidence is in there is completely damning. Here's a crazy thing. If they put just a fraction of that energy into actually protecting investors like they're trying so hard to seal these Hinman documents, I mean, there'd be thousands and thousands of investors and billions of dollars being actually saved out there, instead of it being pulled out from under, these small investors that the chairman is so-called out there to protect. That's the sad part about it. But they're trying extremely hard. This was from James Rule XRP. He says, it was 2 years ago and it still haunts many in this community. Jay Clayton's last day at the SEC resulted in 50 billion cryptocurrency crash. I mean, I was here, just like a lot of us, and I mean, it's just tragic. Coming over here, John Deaton's responding to the Crypto Basics. Says Deaton explains what the XRP community needs to file. What the XRP community needs to file a winning suit against the SEC. He says, quote, XRP holders have been the biggest losers in the SEC versus Ripple case, despite the regulator's mandate to protect consumers. As Deaton highlighted in his writ of mandamus, the SEC stance that XRP constitutes a security is unprecedented in over 70 years of securities law. Continues, it contradicts previous guidelines or guidance like Howey test. Notably, anything can be packaged as a security by an investment contract. However, that does not make the underlying asset alone a security. And straight up, man, it's just tragic how, we as a community, especially, the solid, leaders and researchers out in our community that are out there finding information, putting together the timeline. Even the people like myself making videos, spreading information, the whole web of lies and the web of just corruption and scandals. And we're connecting more dots. You have ETHgate, you have FTXgate, and all these different connections, Celsiuses of the world, and just all this shady stuff, right? And the cold part is the people that are truly devastated by it are the small investors. And our current chairman, Gary Gensler and the SEC, are still going hard after, Ripple and the likes of Library and XRP community, while there's still so much fraudulent and scammy and just outright corrupt things going on just within the crypto industry alone. This is the world we live in, which is wild. This is from Watcher Guru. So remember what I just said about just the corruption and stuff. It says just in over 8.3 trillion was wiped out of the U.S. stock market in 2022. Let that sink in. That's crazy. And we're going through some crazy time. There's a lot of different narratives going on, geopolitical things. You obviously have inflation stuff. I mean, just shady actors, fraud, scammers. There's so many shady things going on. We have continuous printing of money, the devaluing of dollars and currency. It's just a lot going on right now. It's truly scary times. It's like it almost makes us, even though our markets and our industry in the crypto space seems like it's, complete turmoil and devastation. I mean, we're sitting under $1 trillion market cap. We're still up, 829 billion. But it almost makes me feel a lot better being in this space, seeing that, we are holding where we're at. It is pretty low. For me, this isn't anything remotely scary because I've been here since when Bitcoin was at like $3,600 and just the market was just above 100 billion. So it's nothing too crazy for me. I've been through the ebbs and flows of the market, but seeing stuff like this really makes me more intrigued and more interested to, be in the space that we are in. I wanted to cover this really quick before I get off. This says, CryptoBiz, did Michael Saylor buy the Bitcoin bottom for once? And this is an intriguing question and title to this article because there's a lot of investors out there, even myself, I've got on myself about this before, but there's a lot of investors out there that get on themselves so hard. They come in, they hear about Bitcoin and crypto and they buy in and they're buying in at the top. And then we get an, 85 to 95% drop and people sell off out of fear. Some people hold just out of, whether it's confusion, not knowing what's going on. The whole point is like, if you have the likes of Michael Saylor, even though he's big on just buying because he sees, going into the future and stuff, but you have someone of his stature, his status, his wealth, you have people backing him. You have the smart brains, backing his investments and stuff. And just even with himself, if he's buying tops, you should give yourself a little grace and realize that if the likes of Michael Saylor buys tops for the most part, I mean, he was buying way up there. I mean, now he's buying some at these lower prices, but it's like, if he's buying the tops, I mean, you shouldn't be so down on yourself. Yeah, it kind of sucks to buy the tops. I've been there. When I was in late 2017, I was buying a lot of the tops in late 2017, 2018, and then it all dropped. Luckily, I held all of my assets, but yeah, I've been there. So the whole point is over time, if you have, legit projects that actually have staying power, that isn't just some, fly by night scam, the odds of your portfolio coming back and increasing in value are high. I mean, relatively speaking, you can just look at the charts and see that. But I just wanted to bring that up. You know, I used to get on myself pretty tough. If you're an investor out there that bought at 40,000, 50,000, 60,000, and we're sitting down this low and you're freaking out, it's like, well, if you look, hopefully you got a job. Hopefully you didn't invest, more than you were willing to lose. All that spiel that people say. But just realize that, like, the likes of Michael Saylor's, people that's bought higher, and obviously we are where we are. They're seeing it in the long run, and that's kind of how you should see your investments, because they are investments. But that's just kind of my opinion. That's what I have for you. Make sure you come to the Crypto's Key Conversation YouTube channel. Subscribe. Follow us on Twitter at Crypto's Key 1. I really appreciate your support out there. With all that being said, stay strong out there. Be safe.